privileges that I have with my job is I get to sit in on the city council briefing meetings. And that's one of the things that's been on their docket, and listening to the panel of their experts talking about the laws that they're trying to pass, the legislation that they're trying to pass in the city of Seattle regarding recreational use and dispensaries. Because my first thought was not in my backyard, and that's exactly my thought. The other thought of that is 25% tax. That's interesting. How much of that comes back to the city? So that's the other thing. But then there's the health and, there's the safety issue. Okay, so are they being broken into? Are these people being robbed by gunpoint? I don't want that in the city. I don't want our officers at risk, and I don't want our citizens at risk. But I also know that there's a real need for people that need medical marijuana for serious issues, for chronic pain, for chronic use. There's a real need for it. I also know that there's ways that you can probably get prescription when you don't really need it. So, there's so many different things. It's looking at what is the legislation that needs to be written to control it. What kind of safety net can you have in place? What kind of benefits is it to the city? What are the pros? What are the cons? Like I said, I'm really torn on this, and I'm grateful that I'm having the opportunity to listen to a bigger city deal with this, because they're at a much larger scale, and how they have to deal with it, and how they're going to regulate it. Some of the things, that they were talking about was how far from school, how far from daycare, how far from, and this and this and this. And where the one is located now, I heard, I think it was last week or the week before, that Pierce County passed a resolution that it's illegal in Pierce County. Their council passed it. So, and I'm thinking, well, isn't this dispensary in Pierce County? How does that happen? So that's one of the things that I wanted to research to see, how does that work, because I believe that did get passed by Pierce County. Anyway, just one of the, I'm really torn on the issues. There's pros and cons, but like I said, my number one thought when I think about it is not in my backyard. But it's going to be somewhere, somebody's going to make some money off it. Can it be done in a safe and legal way? I don't know. It's where we're going. The state passed it. Do we want to try to make money off of it, or do we just not go there at all and work on keeping moratoriums in place? Eastern Washington is very strong at keeping those moratoriums in place. Western Washington is being a little bit more liberal. So I'd like to just keep our moratorium in place and see what the other cities are doing and how it affects them and how that works, so that we can keep our cities safe and make the right decisions when it comes to going to success.
One last question from the audience. Do you support random drug testing for all city employees?
Yes, I do. I have to submit to random drug testing. I'm in a pool. My number will come up at any time. I think it's a very fair thing. It's very safe. It's safe for the employees. It's safe for the citizens. It's safe for everybody involved. If you're going to be working for the city, you need to make sure that we need to make sure that the fellow citizens are safe from those employees, and also the fellow workers. I believe in random drug testing. We have a no tolerance policy. Even though medical or marijuana is legal, not allowed. There's a zero tolerance. For my work, it's not worth jeopardizing anything. It's not worth jeopardizing our citizens or the other employees of the city for unsafe working conditions.
Right now we have drug tests, a random drug test with the police department, and employees that have heavy equipment operations as required by the state or the laws. As far as a full-on random drug testing, I think that it's up to the council and the citizens to come forward. I have my yings and yangs on it. I don't have a requirement in my employment for random drug testing for 29 years. I don't see that it is always beneficial. There are some benefits from it, I do see, but it is a catch-22. So if I would push it, unless it's brought to me by the citizens, or we see an issue with it on our employees, or the council change the laws to make it a requirement. And if it's a law, then we push it. it's up to the council, their responsibility to make the rules. It's my responsibility, if I'm the mayor, to follow those rules. So, if something changed my mind, I can present it to the council. The council will have to decide how and what way they want to deal with it. But right now, contractually, we cannot implement a random drug testing across the board with the union employees. Am I correct? No. So.
Leanne went first on the closing statements. Would you like to close out, or would you like to make a point?
Well, thank you. Once again, I want to thank all of you for coming. It's great to see participation from our citizens in your local government. I wish the room was busting over with people and understanding and but I really appreciate your involvement. It shows that you care about our city and you care about who's going to be put in that spot to run the city. And I hope that I have your faith and your confidence in me to be your next mayor, because that's what I'd like to do. I would like to serve this community to the best of my ability and bring our community back together and lead us down a strong and great path. And we can all go in the parking lot. Thank you, buddy. All right. Anyway, I want to thank you all for coming. I appreciate it very much.
I'm glad to notice the few new faces in the crowd that are not normally at our council meetings. Please attend the council meetings. That's all I can say is we need you out there. We need to be informative. We need to bring that information to your neighbors, have them come. That's where we get rid of, oh, I heard this and I heard that, and it's a fact because I heard it. You know, we have to be informed. You know, as far as Leanne's statement, yeah, I'd like to have seen more people here. I know there's some concern because the council members are going to make this decision, but luckily 4 council members are here, and they're 4 of the 5 that are going to make the decision. So this gave them an opportunity to hear your questions and hear our answers. And if they haven't already made their mind up, this should provide additional information for them to make that decision tomorrow night. You know, whether Leanne or I become the mayor tomorrow night, I still think this city will move forward in a positive way. I believe the new mayor and the council will work together, and we will work with the employees and we will work with the citizens to make positive forward direction and wipe out what I perceive as the negativeness of this last 18 months. I really want to see this place move forward. Thank you.
Thank you both. I guess that's it.